be live. Preparing and we are live. And we are live. Hi everyone. Welcome again with Rashmi. We are lucky that I'm actually lucky I'm getting a chance to speak to her 2 times because I could hear her perfectly. It was you guys who could
Hi
hear the
everyone.
echo. See, I can hear
Welcome
okay.
again with Rashmi. We are lucky that we're getting.
No. My Facebook went on. My Facebook just decided to start echoing what I'm saying. Anyway, what I was just saying was that Rashmi's conversation with me was very, very special. And I've been talking about the conversation, whatever conversation I've had with her, to many moms. I don't know whether she's been catching up, but Rashmi will catch up seeing me. I've been speaking about Rashmi's experience as an authority as a mom, which she's given me as a gift, that when you become a mom, your authority as a mom is very amazing and you're determined to do what you're supposed to do. And I've learned a lot since that interview from her. So thank you, Rashmi, and welcome. We have Rashmi Palkhivala here again, and we are in for knowing a little bit more about her. And of course, she's my champion mom, and she is one of the pages in the book, which is going to get unfolded. You know, the moms that are entering, you all are seeing one by one, one by one. It just, every mom is bringing some special, gift to this book, and I am totally, totally overwhelmed. But I have 18 moms done, so we have 82 more coming. I don't know who all are coming and joining in. Welcome, Rashmi, and thank you so much. And I apologize again for what happened, but I had a great conversation because you and me were in a full swing conversation. And as my friend, who's your friend as well, said, probably your waves were too high energy and it was echoing. So let's take it from there, that we were very high energy conversation, and we're taking it from there. Let's introduce you again, Rashmi. Go ahead, talk about yourself. What do you do? And just introduce yourself.
Okay, that's a very flattering introduction you've already given me.
I mean it.
Just comment about high energy frequencies.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
I
She
was
was high.
that as well.
Yeah. So
quite entertaining.
yes, let's get entertained. Let's go ahead and talk about you.
Okay, so essentially there have been three sort of main streams in my life that I keep sort of the recurrent melodies that I keep coming back to, and they're writing, teaching, and this connection with nature. So I've been doing all of these in different forms over the years, over the decades. And I feel like, they are the base notes of my life. And then I dabble with other things. I've acted, I've modeled, I've done editing, I've done a lot of other peripheral things that are mildly connected and sometimes completely unconnected. But it depends on, where my interest takes me at that given point. So with teaching, it's been, I've been teaching speech and drama, creative writing, yoga, natural birth, natural food, language, literature, which is, school teaching. And it's extremely fulfilling because it's a space that I feel that I am in because I have things to share. And it's a wonderful place to be because whenever you're teaching, you're always learning as well. So it's a lovely space to be. And the connection with nature, I think, started when I was maybe in my infancy. I remember even when I was 5 years old, sitting under the imli tree when I wanted to recharge and just going off just to be by myself and feel that connection. I think my connection to spirituality, unlike maybe, a lot of people in India particularly, is not a temple or a space of worship, but is nature. And that's where I find myself most recharged. And so that's another of those recurrent themes in my life. And I think even my wanderlust or my desire to get away is basically to get back into nature because I've lived in a city all my life. And my holidays or my times away from the city are my time to get back into nature and recharge. So So I feel that, I mean, like thinking about, my wanderlust, I think that's at the base of it. And so that also connects to, the natural building, that connects to the desire to have an organic farm and to grow things myself. And um, what is the third thing I was going to tell you about? Yeah, and the writing. The writing basically is, I mean, like I've been doing it since I was a kid, writing poetry and
Right.
writing plays, and then I graduated into writing, ironically, children's books when I was an adult, and writing books for academia. Also, a book which is now being used by schools across Bombay, which is a history book on Mumbai, but it's a textbook with a difference, which is the way I intended it to be. I wanted it to be a book that was fun. And it started off by me wanting to share the history of Mumbai for my kids, which is when I started researching it, and then put it into this fun story, which is a kid in Bombay and a wave interacting
Yes.
and recounting the story of Mumbai.
Right.
So, and it's filled with these gorgeous illustrations by my friend Prakash Kurup, who's an incredible illustrator, and
Right.
who I discovered because he made the most beautiful cards for his girlfriend. So this was the first thing he illustrated
Yeah.
professionally. But he's actually a film editor. But so this is something he squeezed into his busy schedule. But it's a lovely book.
Right.
And then I've written this biography of BKS Iyengar, who is a yoga guru, who is the founder of the Iyengar yoga system, which is
Right.
now sort of well renowned through the world. And it was a system that my husband grew up studying. And
Right.
my mother in law was one of the first students of Guruji BKS Iyengar. So it was
Right.
a privilege to be able to write this book.
Right.
And it sort of uh, I was a melding of my love for learning and the ethos of my home, which
Yes.
has a very spiritual yogic base, which is very unlike the way I was brought up, which is my mom's a scientist, very rational, very completely alien world from theirs. So
You think that now you're more into, of course, you spent so many years in this family. Do you really think that it's really like, I think probably it also has a scientific alignment. That's what I feel, that scientifically also you can prove it that what it's doing is doing well.
are you talking
Or
about yoga? Oh yes, of course, absolutely. The thing is, so now we've started to document because so many things are done, so many like incredible changes happen in people's lives. But the thing is that in our Indian systems, we don't have documentation, which the
yes,
Western system has a plethora of. So this is
yes,
something that we're trying to do. Uh,
right,
Make sure that all successes are documented, failures are documented as well. So you can go back to it and see what worked and what didn't, and what works superbly and what works not so well.
right.
So hopefully by the end of it we will have some substantial research, at least, uh, which Jangir and his students or his teachers have embarked on.
Right, right. And now that you've nicely, casually mentioned your mom was a scientist, how was it? Because this project is all about mothers, right? So let's hear how it was being around a scientist. Does your love for nature also come from her inquisitive nature? Because
Mm,
scientists are inquisitive, right? Do
yeah,
you think that you?
I no, I don't think it came from her nature. I think it came from uh, maybe her past and her where she was born. I think
Right,
their connection with the earth was very strong. So
right,
she grew up in a village where she had
right,
to walk 7 kilometers to go to school, and they those are the kind of hardships they had when they had to just basically go to school at that time, where we
right,
all had
right.
it on a platter.
Oh
But
yes, oh
they
yes.
also grew up in a very natural surrounding,
Right,
and I think that's where we kept going back every vacation, and I think that was what fostered my initial love for nature. And
right.
I think it just sort of also
So how
being
was it
born
being
in
around
Kerala.
a mom?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead. You finish.
Also, I was born in Chennai, which was much less urbanized at the time in the
Right.
70s. In this, I was born in 64, so I was there till the early 70s, and it was a
Right.
very different city, and there was space to breathe and play and be with nature. So that's what the
Oh,
Imli tree was in Chennai.
right. No, I was asking also that because this is a project for mothers, and now I'm getting mothers who are grandmothers joining in, and who were very successful as mothers, and now as grandmothers they're joining in, and they've had some incredible stories. They're going to just get unfolded slowly, slowly in interviews. How was it being around a mother who's a scientist? Like that, just intrigues me. Like
so
I'm just
so the thing is, she was extremely busy while I was growing up. So but
right,
she would always make time for the things that she considered important. She'd
right,
make sure that she cooked for us. She'd make sure that she came home to breastfeed me when I was a kid, and she was doing her PhD. And then when she went on to having a full-time job, she still made sure she cooked before she went, and then after she came back we had the buzz. Like,
yeah,
she there was nothing that we missed like that.
yeah,
So she was quite an incredible mom, like balancing both those worlds. And the thing is, I think it's unfair to only give her the credit, because I think my dad was an incredible dad as well, because
right,
he pitched in, and despite his work, he would be cooking. When my friends came, they remembered his dosas more than they remembered my mom's, because I suppose
yeah.
for them it was unusual to have their fathers go into the kitchen at all.
Oh yes,
But
oh yes,
my dad was had no qualms about you know taking over the kitchen, cooking, doing anything that a woman was supposed to do in the house. And I
right.
think being brought up that way gave me a feeling of liberation, a feeling of you can do anything, and there are no real gender roles, and there are no
Oh yes,
circumscribed limits that anybody has because of who they're
right.
born as.
Right. And then, like, yeah, like your mom's time to be a PhD in itself is a very, very incredible thing, you know.
Yeah.
In India at that time when she did PhD, and for your dad to support her like this was a very incredible thing. And I've been raised by a very strong father as well. And my father used to wash clothes, while we were taking a bath and we were young and everything. So for me as well, like I've grown up and I totally understand what you're saying, but still my I mean your mother is, I think, even ahead of where my dad would be. And in that, like my dad generation doing a PhD, I think she should be in the book as well. If she's a
I'll put you on to her. You can put her in the book as well.
like she should be in the book. And that's what I'm talking about, because this book is all about showing up. And no wonder like when I spoke to you, and now I know, like no wonder you said that. I don't feel, I never felt that there was a pressure, or I was feeling that, and I always felt very confident. No wonder, because we always, like my mom-in-law, a lot of times she says, nobody taught me anything. When I compliment her, she's like, I learned it on my own. I said, I am sure that this is coming from somewhere you don't even know that
Yeah.
it's coming from. And and her mother, when I go back to her mother is still alive, and when I go back to speak to her, and I know that she's like getting it from the download from there, but
Yeah.
not in a very obvious way.
Absolutely.
And it's
100%.
incredible. I would love to invite and chat up with your mom about it, because showing up at that age, where showing your light as a woman was a very, very difficult task, because the light, like that's I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I just keep saying this in the interviews. He says, you're talking about all this now because it's all about vanity, etc. It's all about, I said, no, it's not. It's the same thing. At that time, they were not meant to go out, and they were dimming their lights, and women were in circumstances where they didn't want to shine. Now the way to shine is to come on social media, or the way to shine is to show up in events where you don't want to go, and you want to hide, and you want to keep talking about this negative thing that I don't look nice. But to be having a mom, and then yourself having such an incredible journey as a mother, it's a great blessing. Rashmi, it's a great blessing. And I totally, like, you took me, I was telling you last time also, you took me visually there. Now you took me back visually with your dad making dosas. And now I'm going to take that from this interview of your dad making dosas and your friends eating dosas made by him. I was just telling somebody that this is not stopping here. Once my mom project is done, I'm picking up dad's next, because I'm crazy about my father, and I'm going to pick up stories of fathers across the world to bring them on and understand and get an inspiring book of fathers as well. um incredible. Just tell your mom, hats off to her, she being herself, to this kind of juggle during times where they had to walk, they had to do things, there were no machines to make chutneys, and everything was like hand done stuff.
My
Incredible,
dad used to
amazing.
grind the masala for her also.
Yes. And then today we have mixies and we have things, and then also the juggling is getting so much stuff because the situations have become, earlier I used to judge, I'm like, come on, but like, the mental stress has gone to another level, that this juggling is becoming, and that's being closer to nature helps you, it unwinds, you walk, you use up your stress levels, you exercise and you do yoga, and you know what you have to do. There is nothing, no excuses about doing what you're meant to do, right? Dabba banana, you have to make it, then you have to make it, right? There's so incredible. That's like incredible, and I thank you for taking me to your mom's journey. And now we're going to take your journey, which was also amazing, as your birth journey. We're going to talk about that as a mom, because that's inspiring as well. And I think through this interview, world over, when this book comes out, you're going to tell a lot of moms that it's possible to do what you did, and it's amazing. And I would highly recommend everybody to go to your program, your husband's program. Apparently you said that was about natural birth, etc. I would be happy to direct a lot of links to those programs, because it's incredible. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that. Let's
Yeah.
hear what happened
So
once you were
the
with.
reason why we decided to do it was because early in my pregnancy, we went to see a doctor and
Right.
a gynecologist, and we were given this long list prescription of, without checking, without even having a conversation with me. She gave me
Yeah.
a list of meds that she prescribed, and we were so horrified by that because we were pretty anti allopathy in general, but we just found it
Right.
surprising that everyone has just prescribed this without thought.
Yeah.
And so we went away from that thinking, no, this is not the path for us. And since anyway we've lived life a little differently,
Yeah.
let's explore how we can do this differently. And which is what started us of reading. We read Magical Child, we read like a host of books. We met some uh, doctors from abroad who were pioneers of the natural birthing movement. And I think pretty within within the first trimester, we'd sort of decided that this, we were going to do it our way. And we looked around for a midwife, and those were very hard to come by.
Yeah.
So we asked eventually, when it came to the time of the birth, we asked one of Jani's students, who is an obstetrician and a gynecologist, to come in and stand by. So literally, she was in this room leaning against the cupboard on the side there. And we told her that, if things start to go terribly wrong, just shout out to us, and then, we'll try to course correct. But if everything's going fine, you can just relax on the cupboard there. So it was a long labor. So it was more than 24 hours. So obviously she came at the nth moment, as doctors do. But through it all, supporting me were my family. My mom-in-law, my father-in-law was massaging my back. My husband was there all through, doing, acupressure points, making me do yoga in between, and kept walking into the uh, shower and having a warm shower to sort of rejuvenate myself. So it was beautiful because essentially I was in charge of what was happening. I was in sync with my body, and I was following whatever dictates my body was asking me to follow. I was
Right.
not, oh, you're not allowed hot water, which is what they say in hospital. They'll pump you with drugs, but they say, no, you're not allowed hot water because it's too dangerous. I mean, this drug that you're pumping into my system is infinitely more dangerous than a bag of hot water. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
but those are the systems that you have to follow once you get into the confines of a hospital. and you have to be in the position that they want you to. You have to
Right.
not squat or not, flow with
Or stand,
gravity.
don't stand, don't walk around,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
absolutely. So I just felt like it was the perfect birth because it allowed me to be in charge. It allowed me to sort of take the direction that I wanted, take the course that I wanted at the time that I wanted to. If I wanted to take a nap, I could take a nap. If I wanted to, wake up, walk around, do Adho Mukha Svanasana, do a headstand, it was up to me to decide.
Right.
And I had a really supportive structure around me, family structure around me.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Can
So
you hear me? You can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So
So
that was beautiful.
second,
It was the first birth where we had the gynecologist around, and we were very grateful for her presence because she was actually putting herself at risk by being there, because
yes,
it's not normal for an allopath to say, I'll come without my instruments, I'll come and just be there. But I
absolutely.
suppose she had that much faith in the human body, having seen so many births, to know that it's
Right,
a natural process. And
right.
I mean, dogs and cats and our grandmothers have all done it without any intervention from anybody else.
Oh yes, oh
So the
yes.
second time round, we didn't have anybody. It was just my husband and me. It was like one of those express births. So
Yeah,
literally, I postponed waking up my husband because I felt like, what's the point if it's going to take 24 hours? Why should I wake him up at, 1 o'clock at night? But by
right.
the time it was 3 o'clock, my son was born. So thankfully, I woke him up and I told him, hello, I think something's happening. And he said, Rashmi, just go back to sleep. It's not going to happen so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, something is happening. So then he looked in and he said, oh my God, the head is crowding. So then I just
Wow.
went into the shower, and
Yeah.
my son was born under the shower.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. And that's the unpredictability. The life of a mother is so unpredictable. Like you can keep thinking you can predict nature, but you can't. You can't.
Absolutely.
It's so amazing. This story is amazing. And would you want to recommend some books if any mom like starts watching this who's expecting they must read that book to even go that path? Any books that you think that
The
you read, you
first one
said
is Magical Child, or any book by Joseph Chilton Pierce.
Magical Child, you said,
Yes.
right? Lovely. So that's recommended. Rashmi is here. I'm just seeing on the side some comments coming. There are some rare doctors out there who will allow you to be in charge of your own body. I'm lucky I met one by chance, just an hour before I gave birth. So
Yeah.
that's
It is
amazing.
actually really lucky.
Yes, yes. And Rashmi, like the whole thing. I'm also saying that you know your family alignment is so important because I just think at that time, especially when you're a first time mom, like if your family starts freaking out at that time that no, this is not going to happen, let's take the path, it's very difficult for many mothers to even believe at that time that they can do it. And that's the incredible work you guys are doing about the natural birth. And I think I've after the interview I've had conversation with Gia and more known about your family doing more yoga and all these classes. So I would love to drop in links for anybody to actually know about it. It's amazing work that you're doing. Let's go on to like of course we've taken the mother's journey, but as a woman, you've been a writer, you've been doing many things, you've had a successful book, and Rashmi is here. She loves books and she wants to. I keep pushing her. She wants to be a writer. Rashmi is here and she's listening to me. I know she's going to just keep nodding her head that she can't won't give up, but she's a beautiful person with so much potential and a great creativity. And she's from Mumbai as well. So Rashmi, you have to buy this book by her. So let's talk about your book that's empowered so many children and they've loved it about Mumbai. Let's go
Oh,
ahead and talk about
so it's I've already spoken about it, but I'm happy to speak about it again. So
it.
it
Was
came
echoing
about.
that day.
I'm
That's why.
sorry.
It was echoing that day. Nobody could
No,
hear.
no, I spoke about it earlier, but
No, that was not live. We were not live. We are live now. So
okay,
we are putting it on for the universe now.
okay. So essentially, it's a book for kids, and I wrote
Yeah,
it when my kids were about 8 and 10,
right.
and it happened because of conversations with them and the desire for them to understand where they're coming from and to understand the place that they live in. Uh, so basically, what I did was I read a lot of adult books on the history of Mumbai, and I needed to sort of condense it and make it appealing to them. So,
Right.
so which is why I created the story of this young boy who's interacting with a wave, Samundari, who's eternally a part of, the shores of Mumbai. So has
Right.
seen Mumbai grow over the ages, and so it's this recounting of this story, and it starts from the time of the caveman, and it comes into modern Mumbai on Marine
Right.
Drive. So this whole
Right.
interaction is happening on Marine Drive actually,
Right.
and I feel that even since the book has been written, there have been monumental changes that have happened in the city. But at least
Right.
till the point that the book was written, which was I think 2007, which is the first publication. Right now it's the third edition. So even in the first publication, it did manage to cover a whole range of history of
Wow.
Mumbai, and it
Wow.
also covers ideas that are important about the secularism, the cosmopolitanism of Mumbai city, and how each of us has a place, and each of us should be allowed to thrive. So all those are embedded into the book, and it's very heartening because I have kids who've studied it in grade 4 who come back to me,
Yeah.
who are really enthused by the fact that this is one of their favorite books as they were growing up, one of their favorite textbooks, because it is a textbook for many schools.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
So
And
that's very heartening.
yeah, to get a textbook for your city, which is a little rare. I've been brought up in Delhi, and Delhi has so much history as well. I
Absolutely.
would have like Delhi, but being my hometown where I've grown up and been there for 32 years of my life before I moved to Bangalore and then now Pune. I so would have loved a book that was about the history of this thing. So
Yeah.
it's an incredible thing if people of cities start picking up this and start bringing forward what their city was all about. So
Yeah.
that's incredible. I will definitely have that copy for sure. And I've put in the link here for everybody who's watching that she has a page from where you can order. We'll try to put the link as well for her page after
Yeah.
the
Or
conversation.
you can just send me an email. If you've put it,
Yes.
the email address, then that's actually a
I
good.
haven't put it, but I will put the email address as well. But she's like, you can send a messenger to her. Is that okay if they send a
Yeah,
messenger
100%. Yes.
request to you? And so that's her writer's journey. That's a mom's journey. That's a daughter's journey. Also, we've discussed with her. Let's move on to her new journey of being a farmer, and that's the dream because this book is called 100 Self Portraits, 100 Dreams. And before I go there, Rashmi, I also want to talk to you about. I think this whole new view of the self portrait, of discovering yourself through photography, will happen, and even you will take this journey because this book will need to have a portrait that's done by you and your story. Like it's just not going to be a portrait of you or a selfie of you. It's going to be a story of you. What do you feel about that? How do you feel that discovery? Where would you want to take this path the next 100 days when the book is out? And what do you see? Um, do you think there would be a problem? Do you think it'll be very easy for you to do it? Because you've been saying that you've always felt very amazing in front of the camera, which is not a very common thing once you become a mom, with many mothers that I'm talking across. So they're very excited to try and see what happens to them. What do you feel is going to happen across
So
this
for
journey?
me, I think the sharing of stories is a really important thing because I think that's how all of us get our inspiration. That's how all of us manifest change in their lives because we are inspired by stories. And I think
Right,
that cataloging of stories is really important. For me, that
right,
the selfie thing is a nice addendum. It's
yes.
something that helps you visualize the person. So like it's not something I'm either really excited by or not excited by. It's just something that comes with the story, makes the story more real and true. But the
So I
stories
want to
are
just
the things that are
no,
beautiful.
I just want to tell you that before we go forward, my question was, this is not selfies because that's what I'm saying everywhere in the world. This is going to be more self-portrait. It's going to be, and
Yes.
that's why I'm sensitizing the world. that it's going to be discovery of yourself. The only medium rather than painting, you're using photographs. How do you want to place yourself? What do you feel when you're alone with the camera? How do you feel? And that's what's happening is that to a lot of us, a very strange thing happens, that we and the camera, and then we, like, when we sit, the camera and the art is, earlier it used to be painting, like self-portrait used to be your own painting. Now it's camera that I'm using. And then what happens is, Rashmi, it happens to me also as a photographer, in spite of the fact that I'm absolutely have an authority of taking great pictures when I'm looking back, not at the camera. And me and my camera sitting together, and I'm just like, now what? Like, what about me? What about me? Like, and it happens to everyone. And I just wonder that why can't we just like just take a picture and know exactly what we want to do with ourselves. It's that moment that this gadget comes to us, and even if we had to take it for ourselves, something that we want to do, because self-portrait in earlier days when painting used to be there was a very, very intense activity. It used to be, painting your own self, figuring out what are you feeling and how do you want to portray yourself there, versus which was taken over by selfies. And selfies all about that one angle, then one smile, and then you're just doing it to show that I'm gorgeous. And self-portrait is actually a journey, because it's about the feeling, who you are, describing yourself, finding yourself. And sometimes something clicks, when you're discovering this whole thing, that who am I? And if I had this one chance of portraying myself in that one page, without, because if somebody else clicks the thing, they're again using their view of viewing you. And I always say that. And Gia, Gia, and she's my student, and I always tell her, if I was standing and Gia was standing and taking your pictures, we would, same place, we will take totally two different pictures. We will take because our view comes in between of taking. And that's why I'm encouraging mothers to start defining in this one picture who they are, and that's the journey. So I'm just putting it out so that more and more people come to know what is this journey about. And that's why I was asking your opinion, that what do you think happens and when you and your camera is sitting and you're just sitting and you're wondering, now what? Does that happen to you? Have you ever tried to figure out
I don't,
now
yeah, I don't think it's ever been such a thought out process. But I suppose if you're saying it has to be a representation of who you are, then it will have to be a thought out process.
Yes,
And
yes.
it can't be a selfie as your,
Yeah, it won't be a
yeah.
selfie.
So it has to be something that reflects your personality, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. And I see you now, because if your stage is right now is with like, you're such a nature person and you're so aligned with nature. So when I'm talking as a photographer, for me that visual of your book comes in your farm, your dream, being around that. I don't know what you find and what you define. I'm really looking forward to every mother, because I started getting the stories. They're like, Shikha, these are two stories of myself. Now what do you think? Like, what do you think? How can we take that? So I am going to empower everybody technically. Of course, spiritually, all these mothers are aligned, but technically, how to take it so that they can tell their stories through their lens and through what they wanted to, shoot, and put the timers on and figure it out what happens. So it would be awesome to see you in your farm, because that's the next question about your dream, which is your dream. And you said because of COVID, you couldn't go. And so what's the dream,
So
Rashmi?
my
What's the
dream of the farm right now is in a very nascent state. And
right?
so basically it's a piece of land, and
Right.
which barely has a fence and which has a few trees growing, but it has some water harvesting pits. So it's not a particularly beautiful place at the moment, but it's a long
Right.
term vision. And maybe in the next decade or so, I see it developing into something beautiful, and
Right.
a space which is self sustaining, a space which sustains other people as well. So
Right.
helps people get well, helps people come back to themselves, helps people reconnect with nature, all of that. It'll be a space where hopefully people can do yoga as well, and they can eat healthy, and all the other things that come with that lifestyle. But right now, it's just a dream, which I keep trying to articulate because I'm trying to make sure that it manifests.
It will.
So
I'm going to do it on your behalf in this book as well. I'm going to make sure that it
yeah, you
manifests
said that. You said
whatever you.
you can make sure it happens. So yes.
It will happen. It's my 20 years of my work coming together, Rashmi. I don't know what I was doing for 20 years. I was meant to do this because every part of this movement, from designing, because I worked in printing units, I have worked in events and hosted big poetry events. I have been a photographer for 20 years, and now everything is becoming this. All the knowledge that I had from there is coming together into this thing, and I will manifest it on your behalf. At least 100 mom definitely would know your dream because they are part of the book. But I know it doesn't stop at 100. Every 100 will get more 100, and I don't know where this
Yeah.
goes. But I must tell you, to encourage you, a little story that a few years back I was visiting Udaipur, and I went for a poetry reading there, and I was taken to this very Hindi poetry reading place, and I used to write in
Go to
Hindi.
Shikshantar.
No, 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 no. It was just some event. Forgetting. I think so much is happening. I keep forgetting. But I had gone for a poetry reading there. They were part of my group, and there was some Rajasthani poets which were there, and we actually read on streets. Went and did a poetry reading on streets, and we were trying to figure out that where poetry's roots are in different cities. And then she suddenly invited me to say that you have to go to this place, and I'm again forgetting her name. I always remembered it. Last 2 days, I wanted to tell you on this interview. Anyway, I'll tell you the experience. And we were like getting through this whole area, little outskirts of Udaipur, where it was literally barren, Rashmi. It was all barren land with cracks, and we were crossing, and suddenly this big wall comes, okay? It's a big wall, is there, and the gate opens, and we are in a forest right in the middle of like nothing. Like there was a patch, and there was this big thing, and it was a forest. And she was a painter, and she was in love with painting. This gentleman, see, I'm forgetting, sorry for forgetting the name of this designer. He is Umrao Jan. Who's the designer who, like, no, not the he made the movie Umrao Jan. And anyway, so she used to just paint him. And then we reached right in the middle of the forest this small beautiful house where she was painting, and she was in gems, and she was a Russian lady. And then I sat down and heard a story, and her story was that she had left her child very early, and was in search of herself, and she was very guilty of that she left, whatever, and now she was not in touch with them. But she was manifesting to meet her children back. After she said, I came to this place, I made this area, and every single day I spoke to plants, and I put these trees, and I took care of them. And she was in that area for years, just trying to get this. She has names for each tree. And then she worked on that whole thing in anticipation that her son and her grandchildren will come and play there. And then that place is so beautiful that outside you go and it's barren, and inside you go and you're like right now in a place like a rainforest. And it happened so beautifully, and it was all her energy which was placed in that place, in that small block of land, which she decided to put the stuff in. And I see you like that. I see that you have that person in you, and I absolutely know that if she can manifest it there, a little house and a forest in a remote area which has cracks just outside her house because
Yeah.
there's no water. Like, there's no water. I don't know how she did it. She went to government, she did things, she got pipelines, she did whatever she did through lakes to get that forest. And if I find that picture, I will share it with you because it's years long, like long time back. It's almost 10, 12 years back. But I did take her portraits at that time in that forest, and
Okay.
you
Lovely.
remind me, and every mother who's watching this, that's what I'm just saying, that let's put it out and our dreams will come true. This forest will become the thing that you want. It's happened 2 times. Like, probably universe wanted to say 2 times through your in this interview, and it's going to be in the book, and 100 moms will hold it, and I will wish you all the best for that. It's a lovely thing
Thank you.
to do, and you're a beautiful soul, Rashmi. And I, like, now you've given me your mom as a gift, the visual of your mom, and I'm going to go back and see. Wow, I mean, scientists working, balancing, and the era you're talking about. She's a star. She's a star, and please pass my message to her that she's totally a star.
Yeah.
Even if I've not met her, to just hear her inspiring story. I would love to invite her to be part of the book and know her story from her side. So thank you, Rashmi. I know that we're talking, and we will put your links there. And this interview was beautiful. And
Thank you. No,
welcome.
I think what you're doing is really remarkable because I think what you're trying to do is empower women across the world.
Yes.
And by telling the stories of a few that you've picked, but still it will reverberate across and it will make a difference. So I think all these
That's
communities where women share their stories are really, really important because I think
right.
we do too little of that.
Right. Yes, the intention is that. The intention is that. And this time I'm only talking about moms because they are not being talked about enough. And they're not celebrated, they don't celebrate themselves enough, and that's why this book needed to come as a friend to them, because all of you are going to become friends even if you don't know them. I know that this book is going to be lying there, and they will keep going back to it slowly to know that, oh, like maybe I can do a forest, and maybe I can do a photography, or I can do something else. But there are 100 shades of mom in this book, and I absolutely see this book very clearly. And very soon we will start showing the pictures, making of the pictures, what's happening, and release it on 8th of November. That's the date it looks 100 days, 100 interviews should be over. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you, Rashmi, for being part of it. And I'm going to put your book link, and we are going to I'm definitely going to have a copy of it. And thank you so much, and I shall see you soon. I'm going to go off live, and
Thank you. Thanks, Shika. Thanks, everyone out there watching.
yeah, let's stop.